I know you a lot more than you think I do. I know you might be interested in the Vietnam War and that you like tactical shooters, but we're going to be focusing more so on the Vietnam side of things because we're going to have a look at a game called Military Conflict Vietnam.
Enemy down.
Bị hả?
And I'm gonna be honest, I'm happy to see the development of a new Vietnam War game because we have Burning Lands, which will be more on a larger scale, similar to Hell Let Loose, which is what I'm anticipating. We also have Rising Storm 2 Vietnam, which isn't seeing development, but I'd say it has the best balance between realism and arcade. But MCV is definitely on the fast-paced side of things, and it takes inspiration from games I'm sure that some of you are familiar with, such as Viet Cong and a little bit of Day of Defeat, which is a game that I personally have not played. But before I continue, I have a question to every Vietnamese person watching this. It doesn't matter if you live in Vietnam or you live God knows where, but I just need to ask, is the term VC and Viet Cong offensive? Because I got a comment on my Squad Vietnam video saying that it was, because I asked almost every Vietnamese person that I know if it is, and they more or less just laughed in my face. Like, obviously I'm not gonna go up to some old Vietnamese person and say, "Oi, Viet Cong, do you know where I can get..." Oh, that's offensive, I'm sorry. That's just a very dramatic example, don't take that seriously. But staying on topic, what is Military Conflict Vietnam? It is a multiplayer infantry focused first person shooter that is built off of Valve's Source engine,
It's about drive, it's about...
which is also why you might see some resemblance here and there to Counter-Strike, which is a game that I have many fond memories of.
Yes! 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 Come on! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
But this game will release on Steam at around $20 US, so what exactly are we getting for that price? And while everything I show you is early access, we do have a lot of things to look forward to in the development of this game, but at the moment you can play as either the United States Army or the Viet Cong. I would love to be proven wrong, but this might be the first time we are seeing female VC in a Vietnam era video game, and I don't think the developers are going to go that Battlefield 5 route and give them like cybernetic implants and all that stuff. But each faction have their own unique clothing, loadouts, and weapon, but I know that some of you might be saying like, oh, there's only 2 factions, that's barely anything, because there's always that one person that comments that. But you can look forward to some future updates which will include the Anzacs, which hopefully the voice acting will be better than RS2's, but this will also add the L1A1, F1 SMG, and the Browning High Power, as well as custom maps. You also have the Viet Minh, which will see the addition of the MAZ 49 and the Bren gun. For some reason, I always see this requested in any Vietnam style game. We might also see the addition of the Rhodesian Bush War, and there will also be things such as special forces and an expansive amount of explosives, and all these future updates, DLCs, expansions, whatever you want to call them, will be free of charge. You just pay a one-off payment and then you get everything for free after that. There will be an SDK that gets released, and for some reason, whenever one is available, someone is always obligated to make a Star Wars mod. But what kind of weapons do we get to play with? And whilst I'm showing you, I want to tell you what I personally like to use and what I don't really like to use. But of course, you have the iconic Vietnam era weapons such as the M16A1, the M16 with a grenade launcher, and the M16 with dwarfism. You got the AK-47, AKM, and Type 56, each with their own stats that differ from the next, but you also have some not so well known guns. Okay, I know that most of you watching this are Vietnam War buffs and know every single weapon, but if you were to pull a random person off the street, they most likely won't know these guns. But you have the MAZ 38, the MAC 10, the Chinese TUL-1 or TUL-1, and the AVT-40. But I'm sure if you have a favorite Vietnam era weapon that ranges from snipers to explosive weapons, you will be satisfied. But my personal favorites include the flare gun, which has a spotting ability, the Polish, okay, I'm gonna actually attempt to say this, Karabinek Granatnik, WZ160. I just insulted every Polish person watching this. I do apologize. But truth be told, I had no freaking idea that this was even a gun that existed. I learned something new, but if you have an interest in that gun, well, it's in the game. Most of the snipers in the game can also one-shot, but the BAR and the M2 carbine are more on the competitive sides of things. But most guns fire with not too much recoil and are fairly easy to control. I find that since everything is fast-paced within a close quarters environment, you'd want to prioritize getting as many bullets out as possible to be of importance, which is why I never found myself using weapons in semi-automatic mode, especially if there was an automatic mode available, unless if there was a weapon like a sniper rifle or a shotgun or explosive weapon, then that's obviously an exception. But all these weapons are distributed amongst a class system that each have their own uniqueness to them. You have the assault class that can use most of the assault rifles, machine gunners, medics which can use more submachine gun type weapons and can also heal teammates. You also have an engineer and sapper class which can use explosives such as traps, rocket launchers, grenade launchers, and even flamethrowers. You got your sniper rifle class which can use the flare gun, and you also have the radio man class, which is probably the most unique one because you get a set of binoculars that can either call in an artillery strike or a napalm strike every couple of so minutes. And the reason why these are so good is because, like in Rising Storm 2 Vietnam, they can deny the enemy getting onto a point at the most crucial times, and they can also block off choke points for a couple of seconds. There are class limits, thankfully, because obviously you won't have everyone stacking the radio man class and just calling in napalm strike after napalm strike, or you have everyone stack the sniper class and think they're fucking Kenny S. But this leads me on to how the flow of gameplay feels, and everything is fast paced with quick respawn times. There is room for coordination with teammates in game modes such as capture the flag and domination. You do have limited sprints, and your overall movement is affected by how much you are carrying, and the time to kill on most weapons is pretty fast. But the overall movement is really nice and fluid in my opinion. There's no clunk or jank to it. But in terms of maps and game modes, we have a nice variety that range from the streets of Hue City and Saigon, including the famous embassy, to military bases and tropical style beaches. But there is a somewhat of a variety in engagement areas, meaning you have your tight close quarter choke points, and you also have long alleyways which can be protected by snipers and machine gunners who set themselves up right. But in terms of game modes, you have a lot of the classics such as TDM, gun game, domination, capture the flag, and there's just many more. You're not going to be limited in what you can play. But in all seriousness, it's awesome to see the development of this game, and I hope that this is something you might be into, especially if you like the Vietnam War. But speaking of Vietnam, click on the video that is on screen because I know that it will interest you. Anyways, my name is Tantu, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, because if you did, please do consider leaving a like, subscribing, sharing the video with your friends. Anyways, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace. There you go. My throat is just fucking done. Like, it's done. Like, I wanted to upload a video. If you're wondering why I sound like a 50-year-old smoker, it's because I have a throat infection. It's healed, but I'm really straining myself to get this video out for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it.